Hello students, I welcome you to this session of Python programming. In today's session, we are going to continue our discussion of the for statement. Now this Python for loop, it begins with a header line that specifies an assignment target along with the object you want to step through. The header is followed by a block of normally indented statements that you want to repeat. So obviously the syntax is that you take here a for target an object where this object could be a string, could be a list, could be a tuple, and these are the indented statements, the statements which are there with the block of this for. And so long as this target variable passes through each element in the object, these statements are repeatedly executed. And if this for loop terminates normally without any break statement, then this else part is also executed. So if you don't have a break statement here in these statements, then this else part is executed. So when Python runs a for loop, it assigns the items in the iterable object to the target one by one and executes the body loop for each. Okay. The body typically uses the assignment target to refer to the current item in the sequence as though it were a cursor stepping through the sequence. Now the for statement, as we discussed, also supports an optional else block which works exactly as it does in a while loop. So we have discussed the while else loop. So the working here of for else is exactly the same. So this is executed if the loop exits without running into a break statement. Remember, this else part is executed if there is no break statement in the block of statements that are there with this for loop. Okay. Let us now discuss an important function, the range function, which is used extensively in for loops. Okay. So this range function can have up to 3 arguments. Typically it can run with 1 argument also. So that's why I put a square brackets here to suggest that these may be used, the stop and the step part, they may not be used. Minimum argument to run the range function would be 1. Okay. So let's now start a Python session. Let me open a Python session for you. And let me begin by discussing this range. So if I give range with, single argument, say 5, so it gives me a range of values from 0 to 5. 5 not included. Okay. So we can see this as for I in range, say 5. And say I print I. Okay. So now I varies from 0 to 5, but 5 is not included. It is basically it's the range of values that go from 0 to 4. Okay. So as you can see, the range of values from 0 to 4 are printed. Now if we take another, say, argument in this range function, say if I say like 1 comma 5, so it would mean the range of values from 1 to 5, 5 not included. So again it will print 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And you see the step size going from 1 to 5, the step size is automatically plus 1. Okay. If you don't mention the step size, it is plus 1. If you don't mention the starting value is automatically taken as 0. So here in range 5, you are suggesting that you want to have a range of 5 values. You're not indicating where to begin from. So it begins from 0. Here you are indicating a range of values starting from 1 going on till 5, but 5 not included. And the step size, if you don't mention either here or here, is automatically plus 1. Let us now try to run this with a third argument. So now I have taken the range function with 3 arguments. Okay. So I begin with 1, I go on till 10, but 10 is not included. So basically I'm going from values from 1 to 9 in increments of 3. So it would be 1, 4 and 7 that would be printed here in response to this for loop. Okay. So that is how you can use range function. Now you can have negative values also. Say if you have a range of say -4. So it means 0 to -4. Okay, so let's write it here. If I have a range for I in range -4, and if I print I, so you see there is no this thing, no output. Can you tell me why? Because the step size is +1. So if you start from 0 and you add 1, then 1 is the answer, but you need to go towards the negative side. So you need to write this as I think you can now see that we have started with 0, we go on to -4 with the step size of -1. This way it will work. Now this range function is used extensively in your for loops. Okay, so let us write a few programs using this range function. Let me open up one program. First of all, to see the working of while else. So I've taken here a variable I equal to 1, a condition I less than equal to 10, then I'm printing I and I'm incrementing I. And if I is equal to 6, I write a break statement here. Okay, so obviously I is to go from 1 to 10, and when it becomes 6, this break statement here puts us out of the loop. Remember, break statement is used to transfer the control out of a loop. So obviously when you're writing it like this, then this else block is never executed. The values from 1 to 5 are printed. Okay, then I becomes 6, this condition becomes true, and break puts you out of the loop. This else is skipped and this print well done is printed. So if I run this program, obviously the output is 1 2 3 4 5 well done. Okay, and let's say suppose I write here say 14. Now this loop has to run from 1 to 10. So this I is equal to 14 condition is never encountered. So this break statement never works. So it will be printing values from 1 to 10. Then it will print not executed else block, and then it will print well done. So I think you can see the output here, how this while else block is used. You'll be using this while else block for certain specific problems. Most of the time you'll be using a while block without a else block, but for certain problems you can use this while else block. Similar to this while else block is your for else block. So let's have a example for a for else block here. So here I've written for I in range 10. So remember, I in range 10 means values from 0 to 10 but 10 not included. So it will print I, it will print 0, then it will print 1, then it will print 2, then it will also print 3. Okay, because when I 2 is printed, the condition I is equal to 3 is false, then I increments to 3, it is printed. So 0 1 2 3 is printed, and then breaks put you out of this for loop. So your else block is not executed here in this case, as you can see. So it is 0 1 2 3 well done. Okay, this else block is skipped because this break is encountered in this for loop. So if I make it here 13, obviously, then the values from 0 to 9 would be printed, a message not executed else block would be printed, and then the message well done would be printed. So that is how you can work with while else and for else blocks. Okay, so let me write another code for you using the range function. Say suppose I want to print the factorial of a given number. I want to write a program to print the factorial of a given number. So what I can do is I can input the number, okay, using the eval function, so that the output is determined automatically. Okay, and factorial obviously is for a number n is the product of all the values starting from 1 up till n. So we require a loop from 1 to n, and we can take a variable say prod equal to 1 to calculate this product. Okay, And then I can write something like for I in range 1 comma n plus 1. I hope you understand why I've written 1 comma n plus 1, because I want to include the product of all the numbers from 1 to n included. So if I write here simply as 1 to n, then n is not included here in the range function. Okay, and here I can simply write prod is equal to prod star I, and outside this for I can print the factorial. Okay, so let's see the working here. First n would be inputted. Let's say I input n as 3. Okay, this prod is initialized to 1. Now this range function looks like range 1 comma 3 plus 1 4. So it means it will go from 1 to 4, but 4 not included. So this for this I would be ranging between 1 to 3. Initially I would be 1, so prod here would be this assignment statement would be, uh, the value of prod is equal to old value of prod into value of I. So prod is 1 here, I is 1, 1 into 1, 1. This loop will again continue here, I would become 2, prod would become 2. Then again I would be 3 and prod would be old value 2 into I value of I3, so that is 6. So the factorial of the number would be 6. Okay, or you can have a more specific example here, factorial of, you can put here n. Okay, and maybe you can write a message like this, more meaningful output. So factorial of 3 is 6, something like this. Okay, so let's save this as loop 5. Okay, so I want to enter a number 3, so it prints the factorial of 3 is 6. And given the range of, since there is no limitations on the size of the data types in Python, int can range to such a huge values. Let's try the factorial of say 10,000. Okay, so we have a very long squeeze text. So let me just show you. This is the factorial of 10,000. There is no problem with the output, you see. Okay, such a big factorial here, so that maybe the system gets stuck up. Yeah, this output is still coming. Okay, so that is the factorial of 10,000. So imagine the strength of computation in Python. So I hope you understand this range function. This range function would be very useful for you in the for loops. And in my next video with you, I'll be discussing some problems based on loops. And then we'll start with a very important concept of functions. Okay. So till then, keep watching. Thank you very much.